everyone. Eric Hiltz, Bin 412, back with our wine of the month for October 2018. Sorry I'm a few days here into November before I got to this, but I put a poll out to my Instagram following to see if you guys were interested in me continuing with these wines that you can find readily in the state stores in Pennsylvania, or sharing with you a new winery that will ship to Pennsylvania that I'm absolutely ecstatic about. The votes are in. Everyone wanted something that they could buy in the store today, so we're going to focus there. But I'm going to come back to you pretty quickly in November and share this winery with you because I'm really excited about the wines coming out and the quality to price ratio as well. So for October, I walked into the store and picked up a southernrhone. It's a Cotes du Rhone, 2016 from St. Côme. Okay, and when we talk about the Rhone Valley in France, it's really divided into two areas. There's a northern Rhone, which is known for its syrah. Okay, so you have towns like Saint-Joseph, Cornas, Côte-Rôtie, Hermitage, Croix-Hermitage. These are known for, and world known for their syrah. As you get into the southern Rhone Valley in France, they're more known for their Grenache-based blends, okay? And so in terms of quality levels, this is kind of entry level. Anything called Côtes du Rhone is in general from the southern Rhone Valley in France, and it has to be 30% Grenache, but typically there's Syrah and Mourvèdre blended in as well. Those are the big three, but it's mainly Grenache driven. Some Syrah, some Mourvèdre, and then you can have 10 other grapes that can go into these wines. If it is a Côtes du Rhone village, that's a step up in quality because it comes from one of the 90 or 95 villages, I can't remember the exact number, that French law has said are better vineyard sources in the southern Rhone. Then there's a level where you put the village name on the wine. So Côtes du Rhone village plus a village name. There are 18 of those. So Caron is one. Plan de Dieu is another. Resto, I believe, used to be, isn't anymore. But there are 18 of these villages. So if you see Côtes du Rhone village and a village name, you know it's a step up in quality again. And then finally in the southern Rhone, you've got kind of the big three that I call them. You've got Vacqueyras, Gigondas, and Châteauneuf-du-Pape. These three villages, you don't have to put anything about the Rhone Valley. You can just name the village name. Now, Châteauneuf-du-Pape, interestingly, translates to Newcastle of the Pope, and it's named after Pope Clement V, who in the 1600s was a Frenchman, and when he was elected to be Pope, moved the papacy from Rome to Avignon, right there in the southern Rhone, really developed a fairly rich winemaking tradition in this part of the world. So kind of a little known fact there. But what drew me to this? Entry-level Côtes du Rhone. Why did I go for this time? Well, a couple reasons. Number one, the vintage year. 2015 and 16, fantastic vintage in both the southern and the northern Rhone. In fact, in the southern Rhone specifically, I don't think we've seen these scores coming out for vintage since 2010. Before that, probably 5, and then the legendary 98 vintage, which was really one of the first vintages that I was drinking of southern Rhone. So you only get one of these every 5 to 6 years, and when you do, you take note, right? So 15 and 16 back to back, especially being that good. Second thing is the place that this is from, St. Côme, a famous winemaking family in Gigondas, one of those big villages that I talked about in the southern Rhone. Been making wine there since 1570. The property itself dates back. They found artifacts dating back to the 2nd century AD, showing remnants of winemaking going on in this part of the world. So since 1570, the Barrault family has been making wines there. Louis took over for his father in 92. In 2010, switched everything over to biodynamic farming and is just making incredible wines off of the Gigondas estate fruit that he has. And that's bottled under a label called Chateau de St. Côme versus everything else that he's buying grapes from and vinifying. He's just calling St. Côme. So if you see Chateau de St. Côme, that's on his Gigondas. Everything else is just St. Côme. But the winemaking is fantastic, and the grape sources are wonderful. So this wine, I think, was not this wine, but his Gigondas was number 5 in Wine Spector's top 100 last year. So another thing, Louis Barrault, he's now partnered in an American winery and making wines here in America. So I think that's kind of neat. And what I like about it is he didn't go to Napa or Sonoma or even Washington State. He went to the Finger Lakes region in New York. And he's partnered at a place called Forge Cellars. He's making award-winning Riesling and Cool Climate Pinot Noir. I have not had these yet. My understanding is that they're going to be coming to the Pennsylvania State Store system soon. But I know you can order them from a couple places, and I'm dying to get my hands on them. So kind of keep your eyes open for that as well. And then another thing about this wine that struck me as I drank it and I started doing a little bit more research on it, the vineyard sources from this are from 2 areas in the southern Rhone. One is called the Gard. And the Garde region has 4 of those 18 villages that I talked about that are fantastic. And the other is from Vinsobra, and Vinsobra has 4 more of those villages. And Vinsobra, interestingly enough, backs up right to this tinier area called the Vaucluse region, and Vaucluse has the other 10 of those villages. So, these are exceptional vineyard sources for an entry-level Côtes du Rhone. Really, really, really something else. And then the last thing that really struck me about it, and I didn't know this when I bought it, but certainly when you see me smell and drink it, you're gonna pick up on it. It is almost 100% Syrah. Okay, so let's take a step back. Remember, I told you, if it's a Côtes du Rhone, you can only call it Côtes du Rhone by French law if you have 30% Grenache or more. Well, I did some research on the law. The law only covers encépagement, which in French means plantings. So it's a loophole, I guess. So as long as you have 30% of your vineyard planted to Grenache, you can put whatever the heck you want in the bottle, as long as you have 30% of the vineyard dedicated to Grenache. So a little loophole, I guess, there. And that's anything south in the southern Rhone. There's a town called Montelumière, and anything below that abides by that rule. If it's north of that, you can start to put more Syrah and everything like that. But these vineyard sources are below that point. And I guess, again, it just covers the plantings, not the finished product in the wine. So that was kind of neat to me. Again, always learning something new every time I do one of these. Every time I get a new wine. So the first thing that jumped out at me when I poured this was the color. And I know you can never quite make this out on these videos, but it is dark. It is really dark. And when I typically pour Southern Rhone, it's a little brighter. Now this is still on the ruby or the garnet side. This is not purple like an inky purple Syrah. Don't get me wrong, but it's darker than I was expecting. But really, what threw me was the nose. The nose on this, yeah, it's classic Syrah to me in the sense that it's very dark fruit driven. It's blackberry and blueberry. It's got a little bit of that scorched earth wood smoke, like campfire smell. Not a ton. This is a fruit forward wine, so I think this is good for New World wine drinkers to kind of get into a French wine. This is still very fruit forward, but it's got some of those characteristic Syrah notes to me. Not that bright red, crunchy fruit that I typically get off of a Grenache. I don't want you also to think that this is a Northern Rhone style Syrah. This does not have a ton of black pepper, and it's not like that. It's definitely more fruit forward, but it did not smell like Grenache to me. So upon research finding out it was mostly Syrah, I wasn't surprised. Now on the palate, yeah, I think people that like Syrah, New World Syrah, American Syrah, would really like this. So very fruit forward. But what I love about this, traditionally this part of the world, they do not age their wines in small French oak barrels. They typically do it in larger neutral French oak foudre or big cask, or even in the case of this wine, this was aged 6 months in concrete tank. So you don't get that big oaky, toasty vanilla flavor to the wine. It's not masked by that at all. Here you have a medium plus bodied wine that has a pretty high amount of alcohol, 14%, but it hides it really well. It carries it really, really well. Without that oak treatment, it's so light on its feet. It's got good acidity, and it's just balanced. It's just incredibly drinkable. So I really think with the cold weather here, if you're doing a grilled steak or lamb, this would be great with lamb. Even if you're doing some comfort food like a stew or a pot roast, or heck, even a burger on the grill, this is going to be fantastic for you. $14.99 in the Pennsylvania State stores to get this level of vineyard source, this level of winemaker, and this vintage for $15 for a red wine. You really just can't beat it. So I was taken back by it quite a bit, and really wanted to share this one with you guys this month. PLCB code on this one, 73879. So you can order it online, or you can go to any of the major stores in the Pittsburgh area. You're going to have it. Your South Hills Village, your Sewickley, your Waterworks, Monroeville, Pines Plaza, Oxford Center. All the big stores are going to have this. So go out and grab yourself a bottle. If you like it, I would try to invest in the 2015 and 16s that are going to be coming out, the Vaccarat, the Gigondas, and the Châteauneuf-de-Pape. And I'd also kind of go up north, because this is Syrah based, and try a Northern Rhone Syrah from Saint-Joseph or Côte-Rôtie, and give those a try as well. So hey, here's to like I just did, always learning something new. World Wine is an enormous place. Here's to drinking new varietals, new regions, and always learning something. Cheers.